Hello there! Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since the last video, huh? I hope you enjoyed your holidays and that you're back full of energy to write. But let's move on to the video. Some weeks ago I said, at this point a question might arise in your mighty brains. If there are also bad works in the anthologies, is it therefore a sign of prestige to be included? Or they do just throw everyone into it? And the answer is both yes and no, and I'll talk more about it in the next video. And the video has come, so no more chatter and let's get started. In my experience, I have seen anthologies made in different ways that I would group into three categories. In the first one, which I would call virtuous, only the winning and finalist writings are included in the anthology, so a small number of writings, from 10 to 20-25, depending on how big and renowned the literary contest is, both for short stories and poems, for a total of authors included in the anthology ranging from 25 to 50 maximum. The quality of the writing you can find in this kind of anthologies is medium-high. In fact, in the stories included in these kinds of anthology, I have found none of the errors I talked about in the previous videos, because all those stories were well written. In the second method that I would define inclusive, in addition to winners, honorable mentions and finalists, other selected writings are included, generating massive anthologies that can even exceed 300 or 400 pages. The reason why they do this is obviously to make money, even if sometimes they have the nerve to write the opposite on the back cover, on the fact that authors are more inclined to buy one or more copies of the anthologies if their work is included. And since the market of these anthologies is mainly based on selling them to the authors that participated in the literary competition, you can easily understand that the more you put in, the better. And sometimes I have the impression that they put them all in. In fact, in these anthologies it is not uncommon to find a total of 100 or 150 authors to be included, therefore double or triple compared to the virtuous mode. However, this way the general quality of the anthology is diluted, and it's not in the honorable mentions or in the finalist writings, but in the unspecified selected stories that I found all the errors that I talked about in the last two videos. The third one I can only call the pay one. It happens to me only once, but the methodology was so different that it deserves a category of its own. My story was selected in the finalist pool, but the actual ranking would have been revealed only during the award ceremony. At a certain point I received an email from the contest organizer, saying that my story was selected to be part of the anthology of the literary competition, as long as I would buy 4 copies of the anthology itself for 20 euros each. So he was basically saying that I had to buy my place in the anthology for 80 euros. Among other things, in the email was specified that being selected to be part of the anthology had no correspondence at all with the ranking in the literary competition. Nothing could be more likely that they just sent this email to every participant, fishing for those willing to buy 4 copies of the anthology for 80 euros. In addition to the fact that it's immoral to ask an author for money in exchange for inclusion in an anthology, that mail pissed me off because it was clearly false. You cannot say that you have selected my story for the anthology and then blackmail me for 80 euros if I want that possibility. It's obvious that you have written the same thing to everybody. You have not selected my story, you're just collecting money. Well, almost all the competitions charge you for the anthology, but if they select you, they put you in, they print it, and then, if you want it, you can buy it. And that's okay, but it never happened to me that I had to buy 4 copies of the anthology in advance to buy me a place in the anthology itself. Be wary of those behaving like that. In fact, also the publishing contract they sent me a few days later was a total rip-off, and I refused it as I refused to be part of their anthology. But I'll talk about this story later, or just only if you want to hear it. And that's all for today. If you like my stories, you should know that some days ago I published a new one on my website. It's a really short one, just half page, exactly 1000 characters long. But I have so much fun writing it. I had to open the black humor category just for it. It's called Zoe, which in ancient Greek means life, vitality. If you want to help me to hire a professional to translate it in English, please consider to support me on Patreon. And of course, subscribe to the channel, like the video, ring that fucking bell, and I'll see you next time. Bye!